I finally started listening to Pink Floyd The Wall, the entire album actually. And if you saw the title of the video, if it's even in the title, it is now my favorite album ever made. And I mean that with a passion, because I absolutely love this album. Make sure to go follow me on Music Board. That hopefully will be in the link in the description. If it's not, it's on my About page if you want to go follow me there. I'm going to be giving constant music ratings, lists. I'm going to work on my favorite albums list once I've listened to enough albums. Yeah, I'm sorry that the mic quality might not be the best and the lighting isn't that great, but I gotta work with what I got right here at the moment, because I don't want to use that studio in there because it's filled with a bunch of movie posters and that would just look weird out of, even though I got a Deadpool poster in the background. But yeah, Impulse Spectrum has a Pokemon toy stuffed animal. I don't know, but yeah, today we're gonna be talking about Pink Floyd The Wall, which is my favorite album. So let's just, I guess we'll just start with just the way, I don't know, the way this is introduced. It's introduced like a movie. Lights, camera, action. That was great. In the Flesh is a great starting opening song that really opens up the entire album in a great way. And the thing is, when I first started the album, I didn't understand it, and I think that's because I wasn't paying as much attention to it, because you really need to pay attention. This isn't, well, I mean, the first time you need to pay attention to it. Afterwards, you could probably just listen to it casually. That's fine, but please do not shuffle this. Do not listen to this on shuffle. Don't just add these randomly in a playlist. It doesn't have the same impact. And I think that's something that people need to know, is this tells a complete story. It's not just taking different ideas. It's telling a story from beginning to end. And I love the way they just play that off so well. It's, as you get to the beginning and you start it, it's literally the birth of this child. And then we get to, at the end, when they're in jail. And the way they just, this album is able to just reflect a tragedy so I don't know how it does it, but it's so great with reflecting tragedy and hope and hopelessness. It's about life. It's about issues that come with life. It's about tragedy. I don't know, it's just so great. And the vibe of the songs normally reflect onto what it is. Like, for example, with We Don't Need No with not Breaking the Wall Part 2, that's what it's called. It really reflects onto the rebellious tone and vibe that teenagers have and school kids have. It really reflects that, and I love how it does that. And how all the other songs at the end of it are a lot more depressing, while the other songs are more exciting, I guess is the best way. And it doesn't really dive too deep into the drugs part. I mean, this was in the 70s, so I don't expect them to do that as much. But it's clearly hinted at, and I think it's just supposed to be showing the birth and the introduction of someone in the world, and then the tragedy. And I think that's what The Wall was trying to do, and I love that it was trying to do that. And I thought it did that very well, actually. I thought it did it phenomenally. And there's just songs that like The Trial, which it feels like a musical. Like, if I'm being honest, it feels like a musical, and it's so exciting. It's so charismatic in a way. It's so weird, and it's such an odd thing to put in there, but I absolutely love it because of how just interesting it really is. And the thing is, it's hard to really, they build up this character so well, because at the same time he's a terrible person because he's literally admitted to abusing his wife. At the same time, you also feel bad for him. It's like a Martin Scorsese character, if that makes any sense, because of how terrible of a person he is, but at the same time, you feel bad for him at certain parts, especially at the ending of the album. And when they get to that conclusion at the end, it's like, it's just concluding everything. The themes, what the messages that has been conveyed. This whole 26 track album. It's done beautifully, to be honest. I don't know how they were able to do that. Also, just like when they talk about how his father left him in the brick in the wall, when he talks about that, it's like, wow, this is a hard-hitting album. Well, it just does all these things perfectly. I haven't even touched on the instrumentals of the song. And the thing is, interestingly, there's multiple vocalists. I don't know exactly who who sung each specific song, but I don't know. It was just, I thought everyone did a great job with it, to be honest. And there's one of these tracks, I guess I don't have it here exactly, but there's one with the hypnotic and spacey sort of atmosphere that was conveyed, and I thought it was perfect with the futuristic and unique vocals that were in it. And in Goodbye Blue Sky, which is one that's creative. I don't fully understand exactly what it's trying to go for, but it's definitely an interesting one that I really did love. And the whole idea of this symbolic wall and its meaning, it's hard to understand perfectly what they mean by this wall exactly, but at the same time, you question, and you know it means something really deep and compelling, but it really takes a lot to, I guess, understand it. I'm guessing what it means is you're just another brick in the wall. Might mean, I guess, blocking life and just an issue in life, I guess, if that really makes sense. It's hard to really explain it in a way that works. And Waiting for the Worms, we just see him completely give up on life as a whole and is just waiting for his life to end. And just those songs at the end of the album are just so depressing and just sad, but at the same time they're so catchy. I don't know why, they just are, and they stick with you just so well. And also another thing, there's this nice little touch that they add to it, where sometimes there'll be a sound at the end of one song, and then when you move to the next one, it has that same sound. And I was listening to Amazon Music, so it kind of flowed really nicely, and it felt like an overall story because of that. And like, of course, the drums in it are phenomenal, especially with the introduction with In the Flesh. I love that. And also when we get to Thin Ice, where they're talking about basically, it's just so poetic and metaphorical. Probably the most poetic and metaphorical song on the entire album, where they use the metaphor of thin ice and saying that if there are bumps in the road of life, they will overcome them, while using that sort of metaphor with the idea of thin ice, and such as a crack in thin ice. The Happiest Days of Our Life is one that isn't talked about much, but it's definitely interesting. It's hard to say much about that one. It's a very interesting one that I enjoy. Also, Even Mother, which is one I don't love that much. I think the vocals are kind of annoying. It also really it kind of adds things to it with how much it talks about his mother and how caring his mother is for his son, and how we see it. It's more heartbreaking when we realize that he pushed everything away in his life and how his life became so tragic. It's hard to really talk about a lot more in this album. It's hard to really give it anything more. I'm going to give this album a 10 out of 10. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.